The John Lebang Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised.
Worldwide and out to the greater universe, you're listening to the John Lebang Show.
Let me get to this off the bat before I get into anything else. I did not vote for either Joe Biden or Donald Trump in the 2020 presidential election. I had way too much integrity to do such a thing because I knew there was going to be all sorts of BS that was going to happen after the election, and I wanted to be somebody who didn't pick sides and who had some integrity to talk about this stuff from an actual point of view that wasn't biased one way or another. But I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, those dirty, rotten Democrats here in my town and some other places across the nation completely put the fix in, and they stole this election from the American people who clearly were voting for Trump until they had to shut things down and stretch things out until they could find or ship enough votes in to make the whole thing work out. And you Democrats out there who are just cheering along because your guy supposedly won, and we'll see in the court battles, but you know the fix was in from the very beginning. And boy, you Democrats who know it yourself, never has it ever happened where in the 11th hour when a candidate has an 8% or 14% lead in a state, do they just make up all entire numbers by the hundreds of thousands all in one candidate's favor? That is virtually impossible to happen. You would have some stragglers coming in from the other side, but no, everything stops. They're supposed to stop counting, and then as they begin to count back, miraculously, there is a plethora of votes going the other way, and the leads that happened for Trump in the organic version of the election, not the one that was added to after, that brought us to the record number of people who went to the election. Give me a break. I'm telling you, you Trump supporters out there, and I'm not one of them, you guys got totally scammed this election. And the thing you Democrats better realize, there are over 70 million people who realize they got hosed. The fix was in. And according to your little vote count there, you only had 74 million or whatever the total was. Close enough. You think half the country that voted is going to stand for this? What you guys have done is guaranteed there's going to be a civil war in this country. You wanted it. You just wanted control of the government when it happened. That's all. You wanted to be in control of the government when it happened, so you had all the military might at your disposal. And all you Democrats that know the fraud went on, you've been through a bunch of these elections. You know when you went to bed, you were like, frick, Trump is going to be the president. You know it. 3 o'clock in the morning, Trump has a over 8-point, close to 9-point lead in Michigan. In the 11th hour, they stretched it out for a couple days. The 11th hour, they found miraculously multiple hours to squeeze into that 1 hour. And an ungodly total of Joe Biden votes come in during that time period. Give me a freaking break. And I'm so glad. I'm mad, and I don't have anything to do with this. I didn't pick a side. I didn't want to pick a side. I don't like either side. But can you believe this? We are now a banana republic at best. But I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've been stocking up. I hope you've been getting ready. Because there are 70 million people that know they got scammed. And they know they only have until Inauguration Day to get something done, ladies and gentlemen. They know that. Because if the power switches hands, because it will automatically, even if it's contested up until that point, because then Nancy Pelosi takes over if it's still a contested election come January 20, whatever. The fix was in. All they had to do was get a contested election, and they had power. If they won, it was a bonus. So they went out and made sure it happened. You saw those videos on the Daily Brew? If you didn't, they're in the comment or the description box below the video. If you're listening on one of the several radio stations that are carrying the show, then just go to my website, www.jlebang.com, and look up the Daily Brew for all the days around the election. You'll see the videos, if they're not taken down by now, of all the fraud that was going on. Ballots suddenly arriving in coolers. Ballots showing up in other places that they're not supposed to be at. And the officials are rifling through the ballots. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, every single one of you Trump supporters who voted for Trump, and even you Democrats, I'm saying you too, because I think it's our right. You should get on the ball and go find out how your ballot ended up this election. Yeah. Go to your state, however you got to do it, and find out how your ballot was turned in. If it was turned in at all. And if you know you voted, and what you voted, and if they can't produce that ballot for you, file a lawsuit or something. Just saying. I would, and I'm going to myself. Because I didn't vote in the presidential. No, but I voted in the rest of the stuff. Because we had some millages and stuff that's very important to vote for on a local level. But I knew to stay out of this one. I knew for months and months, that it was going to be a tainted election. They were telling us, the Democrats were, Donald Trump was, even the Republicans, because it's like three entities right now. You have the dirty Democrats, you have the limp and linguini-spined Republicans who are going to cave. Cave even though they know the fraud went on. Even though they know this whole election was stolen. In the 11th hour, miraculously, hundreds of thousands of votes just happened to show up for Joe Biden? In Democrat-run states, nonetheless. Video evidence, not one video, not two videos, not three videos, hundreds of videos showing irregularities at best. Hell, in Philadelphia, the Republicans had to stand 6 feet away from the people counting the votes. How are you supposed to judge if that vote is being counted correctly, what the votes were, and who they are from, to make sure that they're from somebody who is actually alive, a registered voter, not an illegal alien? Or does that matter? Does it matter that, well, to the Democrats, it doesn't, because it's all it takes to win, right? Whatever it takes to win. Democrats who cried foul, cheat for 3.5 years, stole 3 years at minimum of Donald Trump's presidency away from the people who elected him to get something done. You couldn't have that. You people stole it from them. And then, to top it off, when Donald Trump was winning in the 11th hour, you found a way to rig the system, a system that you had a plan for. Oh yeah, I've read it. It's on the website. I'm sure eventually, the way things are going, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to find a way to shut us all down. And if you stick around to the end of the show, we're going to talk about what we're going to do about all this. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if this is allowed to stand, and it's going to be hard to defeat, except for one way. And I'll let everybody decide what that one way is. If it gets to the Supreme Court, it's going to be a problem. They have put us into this position, the Democrats, the Rhino Republicans, the establishment Republicans, whatever you want to call them, and Donald Trump is there as well. This grand soap opera is closing in on ending one chapter and beginning another. And from every indication, the Donald, and I support him in this. I don't support Donald Trump. I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote for anybody over there. I have a problem with the entire federal government. Okay? But I hate cheaters. I despise them. And as an independent who, just looking in from the outside, and I see all the videos of the alleged fraud, alleged my dairy heir, I realize that this fix was in for a long time. All the impeachment, everything that came with it, was to keep the country busy while they set it up to steal it under your nose. An American, or the American person, the American patriot, America itself has lost once again in a terrible manner. And what is coming next? Because half the country will now not accept the election. Because in the one most important election that everything had to be played right so the whole country would be at peace with the final result, we had more than a half a dozen states, all ones leading in Trump's favor, have all sorts of irregularities, stretched it out for as long as they freaking could, and in the end, they found votes from somewhere. So many more votes than the lead that the Trumpster had. And if you believe that crap, that crap can happen in the 11th hour, well, then I got a bridge to sell you. Be right back, folks.
Hey, Uncle Shady, where are they going? Hey, you, get back here. The John LeBang Show will be right back.
Are you in need of commercial or residential window cleaning? Do you need your office cleaned? Maybe custodial work? How about some gutter cleaning? If you do, then call Pane in the Glass. For a beautiful shine that's crystal clear, call Pane and the Glass. You can find them on Facebook at Pane and the Glass.
You're listening to the John LeBang Show.
It's better than an Eye-Raider convention.
And I know many of my listeners tune in. You're Trump supporters. And you know I try to stay fair on these guys as much as I can. But I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, you better heed my warning here. Things get real ugly from here on out. You're going to see shelves go bare at the grocery store. They've set it all up for this. This is the next part, the next phase of the Hegelian dialectic that we spoke about way back in March. But this phase, they're going to ramp it up. This phase, it's going to get bloody, and you're going to see things like political assassinations. Whole suburban areas being ransacked. Unless Donald Trump concedes. And some would say for the good of the nation, he should concede. And I say bull crap on that. Bull crap on that. You shouldn't concede. This was stolen. I hate thieves. I hate cheaters. And you see, you Democrats out there, the ones that know deep down this was stolen, because there's many of you who do, and are okay with it because the boogie woogie Trump is gone. Or you think. Are you willing to have this country ripped apart over a lie? And I might get censored, I know. I might get censored. I'm expecting this crap. And that's why by the end of the show, I'm going to have an announcement. What you guys have done on the Democrat side, the ones who know it was a cheat, the average CNN watcher, those people don't know. They don't have a clue that Joe Biden, who didn't get anybody to show up, barely anybody to show up at his rallies, brought in more votes than Barack Obama. Are you serious? Are you serious? There was no enthusiasm on the campaign trail for him. Thousands of people show up for Trump. Thousands of people show up for Trump. You see, ladies and gentlemen, you've been Bitcoined. That's what you have. They've created a digital vote and used it against you. The real dollar, the real vote, your real currency in a republic has been turned virtual. And they can manufacture whatever amount of votes they need to then steal an election. And don't tell me you Democrats are going to come on here and hate me. Feel free to go to the description below and look at the links. The videos are there. All the articles are there. It's widespread. But I know you won't. You won't go there. So you can see that. One of two reasons. Either you don't care that your party cheated to win a presidency. Long as the Trumpster's gone, you don't care, right? Or you want to stick your head so far in the sand because you don't want to find out that you voted for a corrupt and dangerous organization. This is the mafia organization, and what they did by bringing in Kamala Harris was bring in the organized thugs to handle the dirty work of the election. We had the mail carrier trying to bring ballots up to Canada. You think those got counted in time? No, they didn't, and it's not going to matter because it's over. A lot of you out there are probably feeling helpless, and I completely understand. You have got to make a conscious effort to get in front of this before it goes out of hand, and we don't have much time. Because now that Biden, even though there hasn't been any certification of the election yet, remember that, folks, no certification of the election yet. Biden's claiming victory. That's because these states, why can't you understand that? Listen, you Democrats that are listening, it's simple. Why all of a sudden did states have to take forever? Florida, aging population, sends in tons of mail-in voting, right? They got it done, but you couldn't. Does that mean you're incompetent? And that's what it does mean, ladies and gentlemen. What needs to happen is you need to hold your state officials accountable. Now, I don't know, I can't tell you what to do to make them accountable, but you're going to have to do something. This is and I am dubbing this term right now. 11-3 was an inside job. That's right. 11-3 was an inside job. One of the most elaborate, organized, and it's nice that Rudy's on the case. And again, I'm not a Trump supporter. But you independents out there, you're swinging now to Trump, aren't you? Because you know the fix was in. You may not have voted for Trump. You stayed out and you didn't vote for Biden. You went third party or whatever. Maybe you didn't vote. There was a lot of you. I talked to a lot of you. See, this is the thing, ladies and gentlemen. I know two things for sure. More people that didn't like Trump last election liked him for this election, and they voted for him. More people. People who sat out or maybe voted the other way came around and voted for Trump. More people. There were people like myself that were disgusted with the lack of progress in the campaign promises that he made. So there were a lot of us, and we didn't like the tweeting, and we thought this whole thing was a crap show. We stayed out of that. We said the hell with it. Not worth the trouble because they told us, ladies and gentlemen. How many months ago was I telling you that they're telling us this is going to be an election like no other? And the riots and everything that are going to start happening any day now, we're going to start hearing, because unless Trump concedes, and I hope he doesn't, but if Trump concedes, that might overt the riots a little bit for a while. But what has happened now is the cancel culture is now running, or going to be running, the government if this is allowed to stand. The most criminal government we're ever going to have in the history of this country. Because not only do you have the organized crime families of the Clintons, the Bidens, and the Obamas, But then you have the thug organized element now with their hands on the power of the government. Do you realize what just happened, ladies and gentlemen? These aren't just your normal Democrats that are going to try to direct the country in the next few years. The most radical elements were the ones that helped foment this hoax on America. And when it gets down to it, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to get real ugly for a certain class of people that they're going to determine is the bad guy. You'll hear stuff like reparations. Although no one alive today owned any slaves. Gun control. Maybe even outright banning of weapons. Why? Because they know that 70 million people plus are armed to the teeth. And they know the election was stolen. Now they're going to be not as hostile at first. But as long as Trump doesn't concede, things like assassination attempts are going to skyrocket. If Trump doesn't concede, the organized riots paid for by the Soros Foundation or whatever, we've seen nothing yet, ladies and gentlemen. Coronavirus was only to get us warmed up. It was to get us boiling nice and slow. The only thing is, ladies and gentlemen, there is a side of me that thinks people just want to be comfortable, so they're only going to fight for so long, and then they're going to get tired of fighting. They are going to miss their comfortable lives, the benefits. Because if this goes hot, don't think there's going to be insurance plans. You're not going to be going to the dentist very often. I'll tell you that. If this thing goes hot, it's going to look like some third world country in a lot of places. So some people might not be up for that challenge and decide surrender is the better option. It hasn't happened yet. Although the linguini spine Republicans have been somewhat quiet on what's going on right now, that's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. The president needs surrogates out there supporting him. And it's going to be, you watch, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to show you the information. I'm going to be blamed as a Trump supporter then. And all I want is the truth. And every one of those 70 million people that voted for Trump, they know the truth. They know it. It's if they're ready to do something about it. If they have enough cojones to do something about it. Otherwise, that group of people, a lot of them, are going to be targeted like the Jews were targeted in Nazi Germany. Yep. And when that day comes, it's going to be a little too late because they're going to take out the ones that can do the most damage first. The weak ones, they're not going to worry about. Get ready for those masks, ladies and gentlemen. Vaccines are coming. Can't wait for that. We'll be right back after a quick pause.
Don't move a muscle.
The John Lebang Show will be right back.
With lots of fun and excitement. Yes!
Jim's Tuxedo and Menswear is your one-stop shop for tuxedos and men's quality suits. We go the extra mile to make sure your tux or suit is the perfect fit. Our huge selection is second to none in the state.
Looking good.
Outstanding customer service.
And we're located on Dix Toledo in Southgate. Call today, 734-285-3253.
Jim's Tuxedo and Menswear is the place to be.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming to Jim's Tuxedos and Menswear.
You know I had to come to the best.
That's right.
Hey, man, it's at the bottom of the hour, man. Do you know where your kids are, man?
If you want to contact the John Lebang Show, feel free to send an email to jlebang@live.com. And if you're on Twitter, look him up at John Lebang. And don't forget to go to his Facebook page at The John Lebang Show. Banger. Now here's John.
Now, I've covered a lot of elections on this broadcast. The two biggest ones were the 2012 and the 2016 election. But I was very involved in this whole election process, and I could argue anybody the benefits of the electoral colleges versus the so-called bad parts of it. You see, the Democrats knew the electoral college. They may have more votes because of California and New York, two of the three most populous states, lean so hard. It's not a 60-40 split, but it's 70, 80, 90% are Democrats. So you could have called California. 6 weeks ago, you could have called California for the Democrats because it wasn't going anywhere. There's no way that state is going to move right. And that's fine. If you lean that way, I'd much rather you all congregate in the same area. You know, you all go to one state. So the rest of us can be left alone. That's it. You see, Biden and Kamala, who's going to be the eventual president, we'll talk about that in a moment. If they're allowed to take power, you're not going to be left alone, folks. They are the creators of the cancel culture. And now that they've stolen the election, and it's going to be so difficult to fix this. Way more difficult than if, and this is really where the Republicans suck. Where the hell were you guys while this stuff was going on? You weren't allowed to watch? Then why didn't you cause a ruckus to have the cops show up and stop everything? Why didn't you do something while it was happening and not after the fact? Why are we finding out all of this stuff after the fact? This should have been news on the night of the election. Why wasn't there backup? I'll tell you why, folks. It's all part of the plan. You Q people out there, the plan. I just recently posted the plan on my daily brew. Go look it up on your own. It's called the Transition Integrity Project. You can go to the website, but I know liberals and Democrats who support the theft of this country aren't going to want to see that plan. And a lot of Republicans aren't going to either. Because it tells you a step-by-step process of how this election would go. They had a simulation. They war gamed this thing out. And so far, every side is playing their little part. Even the Donald. The Transition Integrity Project. Go look it up. Don't believe me. I don't care. Read the damn thing for yourself. I've had this thing in my dirty little hand for weeks. And if my listeners can now put some little dominoes together, you'll see I was telling you this because I knew the plan. I read it. It's available online. Most people won't go and read this stuff. So they don't know that there was a plan for the election to go this way. Problem, which is going to cause a reaction. The election was stolen. That's the problem. To the left, it was Donald Trump was elected. That was the problem. The reaction from the left was to make fake ballots to steal the election. Now, the reaction from the right is, well, we'll see. But I have a feeling some lead is going to be, unfortunately, sent down range. Because once this gets to the Supreme Court, and then that corrupt body, John Roberts, that so-called conservative, right? Mm-hmm. That body is going to then screw the American people. And as Bubba, the guy I post on my show every once in a while, or on my Daily Brew, you would know him as the Bunker Report. He said this: when the American people find out they've been screwed all the way at the Supreme Court because they think that is the backstop to hold it all together, when they find out they've been had there, that's where the real fun is going to begin. And we have, and you Democrats, you be ready for what's coming too. Because Trump is going to unleash a bunch of things while he's still in office, and he can do it, and you can't do anything about it. That's right. Hopefully he doesn't sign any frickin' stimulus package that's sent up there. Now that the election is over, and it doesn't matter that Trump would get the credit for it. Now I hope he doesn't sign it. Veto that crap. Hopefully it doesn't even make it past the Senate, so he doesn't have to do that. And another thing on the election, folks, which makes no sense at all. You see, it was leaning right in this election from top to bottom. Republicans gained in the House. They were supposed to lose a ton of seats in the House. Remember that? They were supposed to lose the Senate. They didn't. They still own the Senate. And because Michigan had a crucial Senate seat, the fix had to be in extra special. Because what was going to happen is John James was going to beat Gary Peters handily, because he had a bigger lead on Peters than Trump had on Biden. And that was 8 or 9 points. At 3 o'clock in the morning, after the fact that they supposedly shut down counting. And as soon as they opened counting back up, miraculously, Biden was right in the thick of things, and they stretched it out as long as they could. They had to wait for every stolen fake ballot. This is what they probably did. They probably went around and got a bunch of dead people to vote, and some other things. If not, actually make up ballots themselves. Or worse, like mine, which we're going to talk about now. In my district, that's why I want to see if my vote counted at all. When we had the mail-in ballots, they told us we had to use an ink pen. Don't use a Sharpie, whatever you do. Well, guess what they had us use down here at my district? No pens available, Sharpies galore. And I can tell you, this is Trump country through here, folks. Trump country through here. For every 2 Biden signs, you've got 8 Trump signs. That's why I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, you better go check to make sure your vote even counted. Because there was no way Joe Biden won this election. No, there was no enthusiasm. Nobody went to his rallies. When you went to his rallies, they didn't cheer. They sat there quietly, peacefully, calmly. Trump's rallies, everybody's enthusiastic, jumping around, having a good time. It was like a WWF wrestling where everybody's having a good time, screaming and hollering and yahooing. You can't tell me that the Democrats won this election with all the evidence that I'm just laying out here, that you can go to my website, or even better, search it out yourself so you know the truth on your own. You don't have to believe people like me, but you better not discount people like me, because I don't have a dog in the fight. And when I say it's rigged, you might want to listen. Yeah, I know I'm nobody. That's the best thing. You can't corrupt a nobody like me. Nobody can hold anything on me. I'm going to do my very best to tell the truth. And I don't have a dog in the fight in this country either, because I have no posterity, no children. But yet, I care more about the integrity of our country than every frickin' Democrat out there. And they have children, whatnot. Doesn't matter. They don't care about integrity. They only care that their side frickin' won. And it damned if it was cheated, because it doesn't matter. As long as we got rid of Trump. I tried to show a couple Democrats that I work with the footage. They didn't want to see any of it. It's because they want to stick their head in the sand. They don't want to know that they sided with the cheaters, because that's going to make them feel stupid. So it's better to stick their head in the sand than to know the truth. And that's what you're up against, ladies and gentlemen. You're up against a corrupt party that's willing to cheat, to have power over you, and its electorate not willing to face the truth. Because that would put them in front of a mirror, and they'd have to look really hard at what they support. And I can tell you, they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. Whatever happens in the coming weeks, and we're going to be giving you clues, but all you have to do now, you've got the document. It's available to you. Just got to go to that website and look it up. Read it. Understand what the plan is. You'll get to the part, and then you go, oh, that's what's happening now. Oh, now let me see what happens. And you'll start reading, and you'll start realizing that it all is falling into place. Because this wasn't an election. This was an operation. I'm going to take a quick break. Be right back.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
Because the John Lebang Show will be right back.
After this.
That's guaranteed. Yes. Absolute Skin and Body Care, located in Livonia, Michigan. If you're in need of laser hair removal, skin care, laser tattoo removal, or laser hair regrowth, call Absolute Skin and Body Care. They're located at 37625 Ann Arbor Road, Suite 105 in Livonia, Michigan. Their phone number is 248-533-0448. Absolute Skin and Body Care. Give them a call.
You're listening to the John Lebang Show.
It's huge. Now I got to tweet about it. So now, we got to wait and see how things develop. And I want you, my listeners, to stay calm in all this. Stay calm, because there's going to be a lot coming down real soon. and it's going to get heavy. And you need to keep your wits about you. Continue your preps, whatever you do. Keep focused on that. You might want to expand it by getting radios and other things that you don't have right now. It could go two ways with the people who had the election ripped off from them. They could either cower and just accept what is coming down on them, like many did in Nazi Germany. And there's going to be a good portion that will probably do that. Or it could get worse. And 1776 could happen once again. And it's going to get ugly. There's a lot of things that people who are going to speak the truth are going to face in the coming weeks and months. And God forbid if, and we know it's probably what's going to happen, Biden and Kamala get into office. It's going to get, you guys better just be ready. Because what's going to happen with that scenario? And come back and visit me and let me know if I'm right on this one. You see, the Republicans have the Hunter Biden stuff fully underway. And that stuff is going to come out in droves. And this proves, at least to me, that both sides are working against us. They sold you out. All this stuff's going to come out with the Bidens, and Biden is going to be forced to retire, to step down, to leave. Probably within the first 6 months, maybe the first year. Then Kamala becomes president. And here's the thing, folks. She can run 2 more times. So, we technically could have Kamala Harris as president for 11 or more years if the scenario that I just talked about. You see, the Democrats already have the 25th Amendment ready to go, too. Either way, Biden's gone. How you Democrats going to feel about that? You see, I know many of you already knew and anticipated, because that's also part of a separate plan that they've told us. So to skirt the Constitution, ladies and gentlemen, skirt the Constitution. Because if they can pull this theft of an election off when they're not running the White House, once they have their thug president after the removal of Joe Biden, you'll never win another election. You're going to have Kamala Harris for 12 years, 11 years, 10 years, whenever they decide to remove Biden or he steps down. It's all coming to a head, folks. The Republicans have all the Biden stuff coming to a surface. Of course, you Democrats stuck your head in the sand about how corrupt Joe Biden was. And when Kamala Harris is lifted up as president, you're not going to feel bad that you fell for a scam. Another one. Are you? Because they can scam you all day as long as they got that D. You like the D, don't you? You like to take the D, don't you? So if all this comes to pass, ladies and gentlemen, voices like myself are going to be in real danger. That cancel culture could be unleashed on any YouTuber, and they don't have the powers of the Glenn Becks and the Rush Limbaughs and such to have armed bodyguards. So independent voices are going to be shut down, one of the very first things they're going to go after, call them all fake news. Fake news, because with the Smith-Mundt Act no longer in existence, they can propagandize anything and lie to you like they have lied to you this whole time. They lied to you that the numbers were in Biden's favor, and then they made it happen. If you don't believe me, I don't know what to tell you. If you're going to accuse me of being a Trump supporter, go look at my voting record. Go look at the many hours, just this year alone, where I was all over Trump for what was going on, for what was happening, how he was handling things. I'm as independent as they come. Yeah, I might be a tad more conservative than somebody on the left, if you want to term it that way, because everybody's got to split us all up instead of just calling us an individual. What are you? I'm a this, I'm a that. Really? I'm John Lebang. I didn't. So you're just that, huh? I'm John Lebang. I can be a talk show host. I can be a musician. I can be a pain expert. I'm not none of those. I'm John Lebang. Those are just all my qualifications. I can garden like a son of a gun. Not a gardener. That would limit myself to something. You know? When somebody looks at me and says I'm white, I'm like, no. How do you say that? I've got Spanish blood in my genetics. I've got Cherokee Indian in my genetics. How can you be so bigoted by just looking at my appearance? You see, the things that are coming down, folks, in this long end run to where I'm trying to go is people like me are going to face a lot of dangers coming up. And I really have to consider, and as many of us I think are, if we should risk it much longer for the return we get. Because unlike some of the YouTubers and some of the other radio hosts out there, we've been prevented from making any real money. We've been prevented. Google and YouTube doesn't allow us to be monetized. That's been for many years. One day it was shut down because I had told the truth. There's no other reason. They didn't like it. That's what's going to happen to a lot of people. You're going to see many people get Alex Jones'd. They're going to call them conspiracy theorists. But conspiracies happen. And we just saw one of the largest criminal conspiracies to ever take place in this country. And unless the American people stand up and do something about it, and really do something about it, it's all done. You don't even have to vote in another election again, because once Biden and Harris get there, and then Biden is removed for Harris, mark my words, folks. Come back and visit me in 6 months, a year. Let's talk about it. This stuff's going to come down. Biden's not going to be able to hold off the pressure. His people are going to suddenly turn on him because he was a sucker. Maybe he's taking the fall on purpose. I don't know. But if there's one thing Democrats do really well, is they set people up for falls. Pump up old Sleepy Joe, who's a doddering old man. Probably his faculties. We know his faculties aren't all there. So even if the Biden thing doesn't come to fruition through the Republicans, which it will, but even if it doesn't, He's going to be removed for his mental capabilities soon after, because we're going to be able to tell he's a doddering old man. And what does it matter, right? Because this election was between China and Israel. Looks like China's going to win this one in the end. They're declaring victory through Biden. So we may not have to go to war with them. This was just a silent coup of the government. Of course, if Trump finds a way to win, finds a way to have a... I don't see it happening, folks. I really don't. I don't want you to have your hopes up, because it's just going to be for another letdown. The rigged system is against you. The plan is there. All you have to do is read it. It's shocking. And you'll get to the part where we're at right at this moment. And you'll realize that you'll get that feeling in your gut, knowing that you've been had. You should already have that feeling, but what you do about it next, though, folks, is the important thing. Watch your back. Prep up as much as you can. Things are going hot real soon, and they want it to go hot. And 12/21 is not that far off. Keep an eye out. That day and right up until Christmas, maybe even till New Year's, there's going to be some kinds of excitement. Maybe excitement you've never seen before. With that being said, folks, hate to leave on a somber note like that, but we got to get on out of here. Thank you for tuning in once again. We've got to... Before we go, I guess I better actually announce something. We're going to consider our future here over the next several weeks and see what we're going to do. Because as I was getting to before, it's going to become real dangerous, and people who have voices that speak the best truth that they can find are going to be a target of this stuff. Some of us don't want a hassle, you know what I mean? So we're going to be considering what we're going to be doing in the future. If it's even safe to continue doing this. We'll let this play out. We're in for the fight, but if it looks bad, things might have to change. Anyways, folks, we went long. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Go to the website, www.gaylebang.com. Banger Music Awards is going to be going on real soon, so check out everything there. And until the vibrations of my vocal cords reach your ears again, thank you for everybody who tuned in at our live broadcast on election night. We'll see you next time. This is John Lebang saying, signing off.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. Tune in again next week. Same time, same space, same station.
Resistance is futile.